Mr. Mahler to give the invocation.
Judge, I'd like to introduce James Hicks, and I will give him a more formal invitation a little bit later on in an awards presentation. James is a very capable crew member of ours in Precinct 3 and also pastors a church here in Wichita Falls. And James, if you'd bring our invocation, we'd be very proud.
I sure appreciate it, and I count it a privilege just to pray over y'all, pray for you all the time.
We
appreciate
that.
So, precious Father, right now in the mighty name of Jesus, Lord, we glorify and magnify your name. We thank you for all the things you've done for us today, Lord, tomorrow, and the things we don't even know of. Right now, Lord, we facilitate an argument for Christ that he is high and lifted up. We lay it all at the altar right now, Lord. All our concerns, all our worries, thank you, Lord, for who you are in us, around us, and through us. In the mighty name of Jesus, your servants pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pastor, thank you very much. Don't join in pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take seats, please. I have a few things we'd like to do here this morning. First, I want to read a proclamation.
Y'all can come on down if you need to, and against this wall maybe.
We can roll a couple chairs around. This might be the biggest crowd we've ever had here.
It has been for me.
I think so.
Biggest one for me.
Yeah.
I think you're.
I thought you saw a chair I didn't see in that. Have you been in the corner a lot of young
Judge, we might have a record here today.
I think so.
Yeah.
Don't call the fire. Okay, as you all know, I will go today. I'm going to be guys sliding with a red tie, but blue is the designation of what we're here about today is child abuse prevention. I had this pen. I noticed y'all gave me a new one. I saw my little bag y'all gave me to the court, which is really nice. We appreciate that. Whereas in 2021, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services confirmed 565 victims of child abuse or neglect in Wichita County. And whereas future prosperity depends on nurturing the healthy development of the children currently living, growing, and learning within our community. And whereas safe, nurturing relationships and stimulating stable environments improve brain development and child well-being. And whereas the abuse and neglect of children can cause severe, costly, and lifelong problems affecting all of society, including physical and mental health problems, school failure, and criminal behavior. Whereas individuals, businesses, schools, and faith-based and community organizations must make children a top priority and take action to support the physical, social, emotional, and educational development and competency of all children. And whereas during the month of April, the Texoma Child Abuse Prevention Committee, in collaboration with the citywide partners, will be engaging individuals and communities throughout the county in a coordinated effort to prevent child abuse and neglect by promoting awareness of healthy child development, positive parenting practices, and the types of support families need within their communities. Now therefore, the Wichita County Commissioners Court hereby proclaims April 2022 as the Child Abuse Prevention Month in Wichita County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and their families. So proclaim this 4th day of April 2022. I'm going to change the order a little bit because I want to also bring about, we want to recognize, I think, John, are you serving as chairman of CASA or has, no, but you're on that.
I'm on the board.
There we go. Because I saw you, Friday at the deal. One of John Gillespie's hallmarks of his office has been to do the things to protect children and protect the community in general. But they certainly spearheaded that, and we want to thank you. And I also want to, at this time, John's been with us for 20 years as an attorney and now as a criminal district attorney. And this, there's a gift attached to that for your years of service, and we hope for many more.
That's very kind, Judge. My hair was dark when I started.
That was just 2 years ago. Yeah.
But at least we have hair still, John. Okay, the next thing I'd like to do is to ask Tamara Brewer. Did I pronounce that right? Okay. She is with Rise Incorporated, a new foster agency for teenagers. You're going to give us a short presentation?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Why don't you step forward, come up here and tell us, and introduce the rest of your team that's with you if you want to.
No, I'm by myself.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay.
I
We all can, listening, I thought, well, maybe, okay.
No, I'm all alone.
All right, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I'm with Rice Services, and I got to put these readers on. Okay, so I'm the only person, I'm it. So, some of y'all know me as Tamara Cutter. I've been Tamara Brewer for a long time, but the job I had before, I was Tamara Cutter. So, Rise was founded in 1987. It has been serving Texas since 2018. We are a professional foster parenting program here in Wichita Falls. We are in Region 2, which covers about 30 counties. I am actually covering Wichita, Clay, Montague, Wilbarger, just kind of this Texoma area right now. Those are the kind of the areas I'm working on. We are professional home-based care, treatment, foster care, and emergency foster care services at this time. We place teenagers ages 12 to 17, and our goal is reunification. We don't do adoptions. That kind of upsets people at this time, but our goal is reunification. If people come to us for adoptions, we do refer them to other foster agencies. I have flyers with me, if anybody would like some at this time. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. That's all I
A lot
have.
of the people here, though, are near and dear to what you're trying to do, so we appreciate you adding one more service like yours to help the children that need it.
No, thank you all for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. We present this back to
James.
You want to, we have a picture you want to make?
Sure, yes. Kathy's got it. Camera. Got it. And I want to let you know, we did set up a mini display on our corner of the courthouse. There are 56 shoes to represent our 565 victims of abuse and neglect, so 10 times as many. And then we'll have it up again on the 23rd if anybody wants to come to Party for Prevention down in front of Stone. We'll use that. It's going to be fantastic.
Right, thank you all for what you all do. That kind of thing, bring me around, but it's a day-to-day service that you all do that helps make a difference.
I'm so glad that we packed it out. Fellow committee members. Thank you.
Mr. Waller, why don't you join me up here this morning? Gary, Dick?
You know, guys, we've got about 500 members of our county team around here, and each and every one of them do a fantastic job. And we want to take time to recognize those that stand out a little bit from time to time that we really appreciate. It's my honor to present this to James Hicks, one of our crew members in Precinct 3, and Terry Pruitt, the road foreman in Precinct 3 is here also. And James is really a unique individual as much as he shows up for work every day with a good attitude. He doesn't come and tear things up, and that's good. One of the things I appreciate about James as much as anything is that he has a sense of humor, and if you hang around me very long, you need it. But just has done a great job for us in Precinct 3. As I said earlier, he does pastor a church here in Wichita Falls, and he and his wife make designer pickles. If you've ever had a designer, yeah. And I've had the orange ones, and I don't know, a couple of them, and they're very good. You need to get some designer pickles. James does a lot in the community. His family impacts this community, and not only is he been a great employee at Precinct 3, I consider he and his wife good friends, and I want to honor you today, James, and here's your plaque for Employee of the Month, March 2022.
Wow.
James actually worked for Precinct 1 Seasonal Health, and he drove a truck for them, and we had an opening come up at our precinct, and we got him in May of 2012.
Can I have him back?
No, you won't get him back. So anyway, he's pretty good.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mary, let me get a picture of you guys.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, you good. Good, great smile, you good.
You have wide lens?
You bet.
Good deal. Thank you, Doc.
We're free to go on, Barry.
Yes.
Open up a couple of seats.
The others of you, while we try to be entertaining in the rest of this meeting, it doesn't, you've probably seen the high points of it. You are more than welcome to say this is a public meeting. We always appreciate having the public here. I think some of you are here to speak during the public comments portion, and we'll get to that. But thank you all for being here. There's one, no, we can move that microphone to you if somebody needs. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
We're trying to ask everybody in town to hold our side and say what they're going to do during the month to help prevent child abuse and neglect.
So you want the commissioners up there?
Yeah. You gonna come right here with?
Yeah.
Go ahead, come on by here.
In the middle.
I'll let you,
Right here.
Thank you, guys. I'm sorry to disrupt you more.
oh, that's
Scoot
all
on
right.
in, Mick.
Huh?
Mark, come behind Mick a little, yeah.
One more. Thank you.
Oh, wait, I got another camera. Okay.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna get out of their way there. Oh.
Thank you all.
Left is free. Hurry. Big shake.
Okay. We are down to the portion of public comment, and during that time, anyone in the audience that wishes to come speak to an item that's not on the agenda items, we always ask for public comment on. But according to our rules, you can come forward, you can speak for 5 minutes on the subject. Because the item is not posted on the agenda, the court is not allowed to comment at that time. So is there anyone that would like to come forward at this time to bring anything to the court's notice?
Can I say one small thing about that? As far as open comments, if there's any that want to talk about River Road, you can do it now, or River Road is actually on the agenda day to talk about during the court, so you could talk about it at that time also. Either way you wanted to go, if whichever way.
But the court can dialogue with you under the agenda
Right.
item, not under the public comments. So,
Your Honor, I just want to give a thank you to done this a week or so ago. We received, and Corey helped with the audit, and I don't know who else from the auditor's office, but TAC came in to present us with a refund from our unemployment insurance, and we will be recognized this week down in Round Rock for that for our safety. And I was surprised when I opened the check, and I did ask Ernesto, how much is this supposed to be? And he said, I delivered one for $8,000. We received over $26,000 in a refund on our unemployment insurance.
Yay.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, Corey did, and we certainly do not want to underestimate, always takes the paperwork to make anything happen. But what happened was good safety performance by everyone, and that makes a big difference. We at one time were paying probably the highest per capita among Texas counties because of the amount of injuries we had on the road and bridge crew and in jail, and we even had office injuries and beyond paper cuts. When people improperly bending over, picking up file boxes or things like that. So we have come a long ways to not only lower the rate, but now to get a premium return is really good. And so we appreciate everyone's effort in doing that.
We'll take another big step this afternoon when we start our road and bridge training, which includes a lot of safety. That's where we're going to focus to begin with, is safety.
You bet. And Tanya, thanks for helping coordinate all that.
No problem.
No. No. Okay. Anyone else under public comments? Okay. It is 10:17, and I will close that portion. Okay, we're down to the consent agenda, which is quite lengthy. It covers a lot of routine business and things the court has been commonly aware of. Is there a motion to approve it?
Judge, I'll make the motion. I
Okay.
just had clarification on a few things here.
Okay.
On item 4, why is that bill so high?
That's our contracted amount. That's for software as a service.
Oh, it's a quarterly amount.
It's a quarterly
Okay.
amount.
Okay. And where does that fall? I mean, we're making these payments to Tyler, but we're still unsatisfied on some outstanding older invoices. They're too slightly, I guess, over this amount, but close to that amount.
No, we're down to about half that we agreed with them. They made certain milestones, so we previously released about half of that. The software as a service is an ongoing actual service that they're providing for the storage of our documents and things and the retrieval of those. And generally speaking, that's working appropriately. And so we agreed a long time ago to continue to pay that payment afterwards. We have another meeting with them, I think this week, to talk about the balance of that. And
That was from back when we first made the conversion.
yes, yes.
That means it's tomorrow, so we should have a resolution after tomorrow's meeting.
Good. Okay. And then on items 6, 19, 20, and 22, do we have a spreadsheet like we were working with the jail bond on those projects, or that the encumbrance of the money as to where, when these pay out, what remains in that?
We do, if you look at the support documents, there should be a contingency budget attached.
But I mean, even the entire budget, is it?
Generally, the architect keeps that going. I don't think we've ever asked the auditor to keep that particular job, although I wouldn't ask them to produce that very well. But the architect does that, and so we ask her for that. Commissioner Beecham, generally, the one that reviews those.
Most of these are all separate projects, so.
But
All of them falling under the courthouse.
Or the annex, yeah. So, yeah, on CA 20, that contingency log is attached.
But I guess my question was on, just like on item 6, how big is that job?
This is an addition to, yeah, this is ongoing. This is an addition to, a completely new addition to the project. This is beyond the contingency. This is to do the north sidewalk. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, how big is the job?
You talking about the whole,
Uh-huh,
interior elevator and all of that?
right.
Have to go back and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's close to, I can't remember. We've got two of them going on.
I'd have to go back and pull
Yeah.
the contract on it.
I
This
just-
is above, that particular item is above contingency.
But it seemed, like the thing to do, to not do one half of the sidewalk on Scott Street and ignore the problems we had on Sixth Street.
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I've lost scope of where we're at on some of these different projects and the amount of money that's been allocated or encumbered towards it. And, I didn't have a good perspective on it.
If you give us notice, we're gonna have that for you.
Okay.
Just comment on items 10 and item 17. 10 is to replace 2002, dump truck that was burnt up. Our crews brought it in from field work, parked it in the parking lot of Precinct 1 barn, came back out and it was on fire. So this is don't know why, electrical fire, I assume, but they'd been out of it for about 10 minutes and come back out and found it fully engulfed. So there's a replacement for that. Wasn't an anticipated budgeted item, but we do have plenty in capital improvement to pay for it.
Was that insured or not?
It
I
would be-
think we want to add that.
Self-insured, but it's over the dollar amount. It's 81,000, isn't that
For
over?
replacement.
Well,
I mean, it's a 20-year-old vehicle.
We added vehicles,
No.
okay. Because we only acquired their other insurance, the general liability insurance was. Okay. Anything else?
Item 17, I wanted just to make a statement on that. That is for the Owl Park JP's office. We had looked at several options to make that more secure, rather than making big changes to the building at this time, knowing that have a pending move in the near future. This is an option, least expensive option to provide them the security and operations that they were requesting, so.
Is that just for a door?
It's a transaction counter and a door to secure the back area. So it's all with furniture as opposed to changing the footprint of the building at this point.
And you can probably move it.
And we can move it and use it in other places if need be.
I'll second to them.
Judge, item 14,
Yes, sir.
I was just inquiring about Mickey's ability to serve on that Solid Waste Advisory Committee. I didn't know, Randy, but I'm certainly not opposed to that, but could we in the future appoint Mickey to be a part of that?
Okay. That wasn't submitted that way, so I mean,
Is he a recommendation from Nortex, is that?
yes.
Okay.
Anything else on the consent agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Cannon. Any comments from anyone in the audience or the conference call? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor, motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. let's go ahead and move down. Some of you all, I think, are here from item number 4, and so the Bradford State will have a meeting, but Thursday I moved it down to get that discussions on damages to River Road with possible actions to taking some method of repairs, including taking bids from materials and/or equipment rental purchase. Yes, sir, Commissioner Buchanan.
All right. I want to start off by giving just a little bit of history on the River Road, the complaints that are ongoing right now. And Wichita Falls ISD, building 2 new schools. Most of the dirt that's coming from for those new schools, extremely large amount of dirt for the east side. That would be Legacy, I guess. Most all that dirt's coming off River Road. There's a couple of sand pits, quarries out there that dirt will probably end up coming from. I think primarily one of them. But you're talking about 100 to 200, maybe even more than 200 semi-truckloads a day of dirt coming out of those pits. Those county roads were not ever designed to hold up that kind of traffic. They were at one time gravel roads. They were chip sealed at one time. River Road has been lucky enough to been had a hot mix overlaid down River Road, the whole thing. Grant money was spent doing that in the past. There's been a tremendous amount of money spent on River Road because of different sand pits over there in that area through the years. I see we have Mr. Tepfer here today that operates a sand pit over there, and I'm sure he'll have words to say here in a few minutes, but over the past month, I've probably received 100 complaints about the roads on River Road, about the trucks, about the speeding, about the overweight, about the damage to the road. And when I first started getting all these complaints, just so you know, I went back and started researching it because I was like, well, if I found some documents showing that road was rated at 10 tons. Well, if that road's rated at 10 tons, then we need to shut them down. We have a legal right to do it. More and more research, because I had to continue researching it and finding out, talking to our legal department, talking to the commissioners here on the court, the judge. We found that in 1998, that weight limit was rescinded. So there's not a 10-ton weight limit on that road. So I, in turn, advised the law enforcement that I had already called to send out there to enforce traffic violations. Let them know that 10-ton deal is not a law, is not in compliance with it right now. So we still have an issue of ongoing damage. We still have a ongoing damage that Precinct 2 cannot afford to fix. That's a key issue there. My budget will not allow me to come in and fix that road while doing all my other roads in 1 year. Just can't do it. So, but I did reach out to the owner of the sand pit over there in question. He's been very cordial. Also, even about speeding, about driving, he's been very cordial, very polite with me. Called his drivers, trying to get them to slow down. He doesn't want them overloaded either. He don't want to get any tickets. Anytime they're stopped, anytime there's trouble, it costs him time getting dirt to his job. So he doesn't want any problems either. And as of right now it stands, he is willing to help the county as soon as this road project is done, come back in and repair that road, repair the damages that are done from all this truck traffic. As a member of the court and as a taxpayer here in Wichita, I'm pretty happy with that answer because I don't know that I can legally make him do it. So if they're willing to work with the county to try to get those repairs done, I think that's our best option. I just pray that, he'll be a man enough to keep his word and to help the county and help the citizens out there. There is ongoing problem, and he even sent guys out this last week to remove some of the damaged areas, put some crusher run in it, try to get it level where there's not as much damage to the cars. I've also had my county guys out there. Until they're done, which is estimated 3 weeks, until this road project is done, this dirt project, then there's no reason to jump out there and spend a lot of money making permanent repairs on those roads that are going to be immediately damaged. So I just want to kind of give a little bit of history and kind of what's going on as far as to let the citizens know what's going on out there. And I'm open to any advice and helpful hints that would help us out there. But we do have a company and we have a school district that needs the dirt. We have a company that has legal right to have that quarry. They have a state registered quarry there. They've got all their paperwork in order. They even have permits to carry dirt over weight, which they're not doing. So for the most part, I think everything is being done right now the best we can, other than the amount of heavy traffic is an annoyance, and it's hard on our roads. So I would love to hear whatever comments we have here, but that's kind of where we stand right now. Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask you to give me your name and come forward, please. I mean, you have,
Constance Martin, and I'm here to represent the two gentlemen. I appreciate what the owner of the trucking company and quarry are saying to you about fixing the roads. But my concern is they're digging up against that river, and that sand bed is going to cause more erosion. And that's a flood area right through there. And that flooding is going to make it that these properties, as they keep taking that sand out, is going to make those properties erode. And that means that you're losing, your property, what you bought. So I'm concerned with that. And extracting that sand is just going to continue.
And I'm not saying that I don't know that I'm smart enough to tell you a proper answer to that, but I can tell you that he has filed for and received a permit through I'll pull it up here, TCEQ, to allow him to have that quarry there. So he has his state permit and regulation and whatever licensing he needs to be able to dig there. So if the state is telling him that he can dig there, then I'm assuming that they're saying that that's not an issue with that.
With that flood zone?
Because, and I did check also, that is not in the floodway or the flood zone. That particular piece of property at 3777 is not. So that's what I said. As far as receiving these complaints from the citizens, I spent a lot of time researching this and a lot of time trying to get to the bottom of it, because I am an advocate for the citizens out there. I work for you 100%. So I want to make sure that but I don't want to lie to you either. I want to tell you exactly what the facts are. So that's kind of where we stand right there. And I've driven back there and looking at it. Another commissioner here has driven out there and looking at it. And it's not like it's a 100-foot pit. They are strategically removing dirt in I was pretty impressed in the manner that they were doing it. So but I am giving you information. I would be concerned also. I'm more concerned about the road right now than I am the possible flooding, because if you were adding that much dirt to it, then I would have more of an issue for flooding, but you're taking that dirt out. So I am listening to your complaints. I just don't know the proper answer and you might.
And there is more than 200, there is about 300, 400 trucks, or loads that do travel on that road.
Yes, there are. I mean, you think a couple of hundred semi-loads, you're looking at 400 trucks. There's 400 truck trips. They got to go to and from every trip they make. And I've been out there numerous times, and because when this first started, I wanted to get my signs fixed and get the officers out there and shut them down if need be. But shutting them down is not conducive to anybody other than the people that live there. Because then you're going to have the school district complaining that they can't get their job done because they can't get their dirt. They've got to get the dirt from somewhere in the county. It's got to come from somewhere. So we're going to be affecting county roads wherever we drive. So, like I said, I'm doing my best in trying to keep that good relationship with the business owners and the trucking companies. Maybe we can come to an agreement to fix everything when this is done.
Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
My name is Colby Kingston, and I'm part of the McKee family. And I concur with what she's saying about the whole erosion stuff. I run a lawn care business, and it will eventually deteriorate and incinerate every time we have a rain. It floods. I understand that it might not be a flood area right there, but every time, they're so close. I'm not going to say close, but they're close enough to where it's like about river. So I do agree with my aunt here, And also, the whole driving thing, I have kids, and everybody out there has kids. I mean, I go have my kids check the mail when they get home from school. I mean, they almost hit my kids. I mean, like, I'm not condoning and trying to tell these truck drivers, and, I mean, I'm a contractor too. I mean, everybody needs to work. My dad was a truck driver. So, but driving safely is probably my biggest concern when it comes to kids gig playing and whatnot. I mean, it's not like the city where, you know, people are parking out in the streets and whatnot, but I mean, they're just running around being kids, and, you know, when these truck drivers are going 45, 50 miles an hour on a 35-mile-an-hour road, it's very concerning. And, I mean, that's my input on what's going on. I mean, I'm not condoning people trying to stop work, because everyone's got to make a living. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, if I can't work, then I can't provide for my kids. And I'm not saying that they don't have families, but everyone's got families. But slowing down and driving their 35 miles an hour on there needs to happen instead of, you know, I mean, we're not a NASCAR. This isn't a NASCAR place. I mean, but thank y'all for y'all's time. I just wanted to interrupt that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to address that, if some people here are not real familiar with River Road that are in here right now, that road, I mean, I was out there in a truck also, and I was passing trucks. Once you have a semi-truck there or a full-size truck, there's not any room to spare. If you have two trucks meet on that road, most of the time one of y'all is going to have rubber in the dirt. So it's just that tight a road. It's not a very wide road. What that does cause, some of the trucks out there that are loud, some of the semi-trucks that are running are loud. Sometimes they appear to be going faster than they are because they're a bigger truck. When you're in a Nissan car or a little pickup and you're going down the road, it seems like those bigger trucks are running faster because there's so many of them, and it is. But we have had the Sheriff's Department, DPS out there both working, speeding, weight, and stuff like that. And they've issued several citations, but they're not speeding at such alarming rate as what I think some of the residents think.
My dad was a truck driver, so
Yeah.
I mean, I know that trucks are louder.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah,
But
I mean, the older ones definitely, but, I mean, I understand that them being a bigger truck is gonna make it louder, and, you know, people misconstrue the speed with sound.
Right.
But, I mean, I lived with it all my life, with being a trucker's son.
And
So, I mean, that's all I'm saying.
one other thing I will say is this is such a large contract going on right now that sand pit owner, very few of his own trucks are running. These are subcontract truck drivers that are coming in from everywhere to haul all this dirt because there's so much dirt needed at one time. So, you know, when he tells them drivers to shut down, really and truly, he can only control his drivers. And there's, you know, there might be 20 other independent drivers out there. So if they're speeding, if they're traffic problems, then I would still suggest you call the Sheriff's Department and make the complaints, because the Sheriff's Department, don't get me wrong, they're not afraid to go write tickets. They'll get out there and write tickets. So, and they've been really good to work with us. So we are, as your commissioner, I am trying my best to make that as good a situation as we can. But once I've researched everything, you can't get blood out of a turnip, and you can't stop the progress here either. So we're trying to keep it as safe for the citizens out there as we can.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to tell them to stop working, because, I mean, all kids need education, but my main thing was just the speeding, and, you know, just kids are running around playing.
And right now, with all these truck traffic going on, I know if my family was there and had my kids the option to play in the front yard to the backyard, they'd probably be in the backyard, because there's just too much truck traffic there right now.
I get that, and my kids don't play in the front yard.
Yeah.
They have a pasture to play in.
Right.
So, but that was just the whole checking the mail stuff and
Right.
whatnot, that's all.
Well, thank you very much for coming and talking.
What relation to you, Gary?
I'm just a son.
Okay. I worked with Gary for years.
Yeah.
Good man.
What is the speed limit, Commissioner?
I believe it's 35.
It is 35.
I was out there this morning, and I didn't see a speed limit.
There's one right there by the bridge,
Yep.
coming in, going into River Road, and then there's one on the other end of River Road, and if I'm not mistaken, it's like just periodically out on there, like out the road somewhere. But I know there's one right there by the bridge and right there at the end of River Road.
I was looking at the road condition, I wasn't looking for.
And I will, since you're residents out there, something else I would love to have y'all's input on. Any family, anybody you can talk to out there. The illegal dumping that goes on River Road, anybody that sees anybody dumping stuff, please don't hesitate to call. Whip out your phone, take a picture, because your precinct dollars are spending about $1,000 a week to pick up trash. That $1,000 a week that we spend to pick up trash, we can't spend it on the roads. So we would like any help we can in that.
Just randomly, because you're bringing that up, is the irrigation ditch going to be coming in with water this summer for water crops and plants? I haven't seen it in years.
I think by the answer.
They are? Okay, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So, that's all I had. I appreciate it, y'all.
Thank you very much. You too.
Take care.
Mr. Tepfer, I believe, has some.
My name is David Tepper. I'm a 37 years old. I've been there for 40 years. Been there. That's how long ago it was. And when I bought the place, I told them I wasn't going to raise chickens. I was going to haul dirt. And we came to the county commissioner's court, and they agreed, and that was in 1982. And Woody fought hard to get a new bridge, because the bridge was a 28,000-pound bridge. And when we first started, they routed us down to Conway Drive. And that lasted about 2 weeks. And they decided to let me go down the bridge. Well, I myself was scared of that with 28,000 pounds. So the county inspected that bridge every year. They had a company, an engineering firm, come and inspect that bridge every year. And when they tore that old bridge down, I hauled the concrete off for the company. And you can ask, what did they like to not were able to tear it down? It was so stout and strong. Yeah. It's probably a better bridge than we have now. That's right. And I'm here to thank the county, because y'all, it's hard to be a county commissioner or a judge. Y'all get these phone calls from everybody, and my company has been there over 40 years, and we've worked with the community. I did not bid on these schools because it was too big. I'm getting old, and it's too big of a project for me. I mean, I've done them that big in the past, but I just don't do it anymore. There is a lot of traffic. There has been a lot of traffic on that road before, because we haul 400,000 yards to Kell Freeway, and worked with Woody, Lynn, and stuff, and the company I worked with was Amarillo Road. They came in and repaired the roads that they tore up. But if you look at my road from my place at River Road and Conway Drive, it's a pretty good road. And when we take care of it, I haul 46,000-pound loads. I don't haul with end dumps. Sometimes they do come in there, but my company is not doing big jobs. But in the other contractor's defense, he's not doing anything wrong. I mean, I'm not a fan of his per se, but he is not doing a thing wrong. He has his permits. The trucks are not being overloaded. And I don't think they're going fast. Now, I have seen them go fast out there, and usually when a project's going on out there, my office and my wife receives the phone calls. They think it's me. And we feel like we're part of that community. And we're not all calls. And we will fix the problem. The other contractor will do the same thing. Truck drivers are not out there to run over kids and speed and hurt people. They're not. Their insurance is extremely high. Our fuel is, when outside, even y'all people that have gas, it's a hard time for Mr. Wilson right now, because he's bid this project long ago, and now he's caught up with $5 a gallon diesel and stuff. And most of those trucks, I'm not for sure, but I think are on by the hour. And if you've ever worked a truck by the hour, they stay in line, they keep going, but they don't speed. There's no reason for them to speed, because they're getting paid by the hour. But I would like to thank Woody Gossam, Mickey Fincannon and all the other commissioners I've had over the years have done a marvelous job for me and the community. When we bought that place, the roads were horrible. And like I say, Woody thought he got a new bridge for that community, not for me, but the whole community. And the county has taken excellent care of the roads, I think. And the roads are really not torn up that bad by the trucking this money, because the county works on the road all the time. And I appreciate your time, and I'm very, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Tepfer, we're glad to see you up and around and doing all right after what you went through.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the long time friendship. Hey, anything else on that?
I have one more back
Yes,
here.
sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
My name's Darrell Bruce. I live out on River Road.
Mr. Bruce, would you come forward so the microphone pick you up, please?
Lived down on River Road now for almost 60 years. My family bought 3 acres out there back in 1948, and most of our family have lived out there since then. I guess most of my questions I had today has already been answered, and that's the part of the speed. I was up early this morning and sat on my front porch. These guys cranked it up about 8 o'clock this morning, and 35 miles an hour was not the speed limit going back and forth. I sat there on the front porch and watched them until I came up here. But I'd like to see some more law enforcement out there, at least being seen. You know, I don't know if they're going to give out any tickets or not, but they need to slow down, for sure.
Okay.
And
Chief Rutledge is Sheriff's Chief Deputy, and he's nodding.
I already nodded to Lieutenant Wilson to take care of that.
Okay.
all right, that's all I have.
We are working as diligently as we can to keep that road in good shape, to keep it as safe as we can, to do what we can for the citizens.
Yeah. I did notice though that when, the other day when they went out there and scraped up one part of the road out there, they just kind of tossed it over in the ditch.
Right, it is in the ditch because we gotta get time to haul it off. They were just trying to make some temporary repairs because those pieces that are broken out were as big as 12 inches in diameter. So you don't want it where somebody would come down through there with a little car and damage their car or anything like that.
Well, that and when the grass gets higher and mowers come out,
But-
they're going to be.
But we're gonna have to fix those areas anyway. So there's no reason to send a truck from Burke at $5 a gallon diesel to come clean up 2 little piles.
You might think
So-
think one to do that. They're right
Yeah.
around the corner.
But thank you, Mr. Bruce, for coming.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I'd like to address some of the law enforcement issues
Yes, sir.
that we've been doing. Lieutenant Wilson, Wichita County Sheriff's Office. I'm also supervisor of the Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Unit. Several things that have been going on. Commissioner Fincan and I talked multiple times on the phone. We still can enforce weight, okay, without it being a load-bearing road. And we do, and we have written citations. And I've heard a couple of times, and not to argue with Mr. Tepper at all, we've written a lot of overweight tickets on those trucks. And that's a big part of, and I'm not arguing, I'm just saying.
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
I have offered Wilson Contractors use of my scales once or twice a day to make sure the roads are correct.
Now, they've done better. They've done better. They are leveling their loads. They are paying attention. They're taking care of a lot of those issues. There are still things that we can do. I was out on River Road last part of last week, found some damage on the east side of Krotchka, as well as on the west side. I did an informal traffic count. We're running one way right at 20 trucks an hour. And I know that's going to vary by the day. I saw at least 4 subcontractors working. It's not all Wilson Contracting. I saw at least 4 subs out there. So we've got, but one thing we have to address, the speed, yes, is an issue. But it's historically been an issue on River Road, not just commercial trucks. Okay, there have been many citations to those opposites. Okay, it's long, it's
As they should be. I mean, we shouldn't be out there picking on just the trucks.
That's, River Road is just one of those roads, you don't have a lot of turns, you don't have any stop signs, and that's people get up. We do address that, but we will, put additional efforts out there, speaking out of school, but with permission. But we do have our CD, working out there, Wayne trucks, we do have, patrol deputies. In addition to that, we have the West High School Memorial, I believe, that's coming off of the sand pit on the south end of the road. That has to be addressed, or we are addressing it. In addition to the several road projects on how that the state has going around the county, for the longest time it was Highway 240. I think they've cleared that up now. So, I mean, we have several projects going on around the county that we try to address everything. But obviously, with 100 calls a day or 100 calls a week, I apologize.
It does.
For what it was, but that's something that we need to do. And obviously, if any of you ever have an issue, contact me or my counterpart, Lieutenant D. Ford. If these gentlemen aren't available, and we'll be more than happy to address anything that we can.
You mentioned that speed limit out there, that was when I was commissioner. Stepford, you might remember, we had a meeting, went over that with everybody, and Mr. Horton, I believe, was the rancher farmer at the end of the road, and we had a DPS officer, and we agreed that was the speed limit. And I looked at the audience and I said, one of you will be the first to get a speeding ticket. It was Mr. Horton was the first one that got a speeding ticket out.
Well, in addition to what these folks are dealing with on River Road, we're also getting complaints on the common lane. Okay, apparently some patrol trucks are diverting that way to avoid.
And I probably need to get with them and let them know, because the Conway's it hadn't been rescinded. It's still a lower weight road. Well, I got 2 signs that just came down off River Road. I can get them up somewhere else.
So, we have to follow DPS by statute. We have to CD, we have to follow DPS policy. That way all CDs in the state line are working on the same. You can designate a road as being load-bearing road, whether it's 10 tons, whether it's 58-420, you see that sign a lot, a load zone bridge, whatever the case. But DPS policy is we cannot enforce that unless there are signs at the end of the roads. Now those signs could be 100 miles apart as long as there are signs at the end of each road. And once those signs are posted, then we can enforce load-bearing road or bridge status. Any questions?
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
River Road, and I was there this morning, it's hard to drive 35 on River Road, because I was there before.
It's pretty well open.
It's, yeah, I mean, it's just hard. You gotta watch yourself, or you'll be driving faster than you need to, but anyway, it's,
As far as it on the agenda today, I don't see any reason to take any action as far as.
I did look at the pit this morning and checked it from an erosion and flooding concern. That was my main concern, checking it out, and don't see anything out there that's gonna add a whole lot to that. It is further away from the river than I thought it was to start with. I watched them load, and they were taking caution to load lighter than what I've seen them load. I stayed there for a good little bit. In fact, I got a call back from the foreman out there just while we've been in court. I don't know what that's about, but I don't have, major flood concerns or anything like that after looking at it. It's pretty good.
back far enough.
Yeah, it's not a problem, I don't think.
So far, I'm pretty happy with the people out there that are willing to work with us on moving forward.
This is one of those situations you get into. What are you going to do? I understand. If I lived out there, I wouldn't like it. One of the things I saw is you're tracking mud out on the road, and then within a few minutes it dries out, and the dust is pretty bad. I wished I had an answer. I'd like to have a magic wand and do it, but I don't know. What do? You just do the best you can, make it as safe as you can, and try to move forward.
That's all we can do.
That's all you can do.
With the limitations we have on it, and our efforts with the legislature have not been well received to try to give counties, it's just as much as when those permits were gained for having those as quarries. There's no notification given to the county that I'm aware of. And so we find about it afterwards. Okay, anything else on item 4 on River Road? Thank you all very much for time and input on that. Okay, Mr. Perk, thank you for waiting on us here. For now, I'd like to announce at 10:56, we will begin a public hearing to discuss, consider, or take action on the amount of mandatory payments that the Wichita County Commissioners Court intends to require from local hospitals in fiscal year 2022. Mr. Perk, why don't you give a background for everybody a little bit on that, please?
Sure. Thank you, Judge Carlson. My name is Bob Perk. I'm Chief Financial Officer, United Regional. And I want to thank you initially to all the support and leadership that you've given on this program, along with the treasurers and the auditor's office that has helped us through the last 3 years and requesting this support to you. As you may recall, we started this back in 2019. Legislation was passed for the state. Also had help with Representative Frank. Appreciate the support associated with that. And basically, it's a program that allows counties to assess a tax to local private hospitals and get matching dollars from the federal government. It's very important for us as it relates to the amount of uncompensated care and Medicaid shortfalls that our organization has. As you know, United Regional represents the only large acute safety net hospital in approximately 9-county region. These funds are very critical to us. So each year we come before the court and then ask for the assessment for these facilities. I believe it's stated in there the request this year is 3.835%. And also let you know that as these programs come through, there's one of these programs that's not yet approved at the federal level. So I would ask also that you be open to coming back, myself coming back later in the year if that federal program is approved. Again, it's just basically a program that allows us to access federal matching dollars to bring back to our community to serve Medicaid shortfall and uncompensated care region.
So, what is the danger of us losing the federal side of it? I read some on that they may not extend the program.
So that's the 2023. That time period is under discussion, which was the comment I made in regards to if that one does get approved, then we'll be coming back and ask for an amendment to that rate to access those dollars.
This program, as we know it, is not subject to go away, or just portions thereof.
The current programs that we're asking for today are approved.
Are approved. Okay.
Any comments by anyone on the phone or in the audience? Okay, thank you, sir. It's 10:59, and we will close the public hearing on that item. Now before the court is consider and take action to authorize county judge to sign the resolution setting the fiscal year 2022 mandatory payment rate at 3.835% for the Wichita County Healthcare Provider Participation Program.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any comment on before we take a vote? Okay. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Perk, for what you received this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, item 3 is review and approve the regular bills for payment, order the county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless provided otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
So moved. Either which, I don't care.
You got rid of that before you, Commissioner. Okay, motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the bills. Any comments or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 5 is receive an update on courthouse renovations, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex.
A lot of demolition in the past week, demolition of ceilings up on 4 and 5. Today, they're putting in all the headers for the new door openings. They're also finishing up the digging and moving of the plumbing in the elevator pit with the plans on pouring back the floor sometime this week. Big thing on the calendar next would be to start the leveling of that first floor. Should be pouring concrete next week if everything goes well. So we've worked on a mitigation plan to keep the humidity and excess heat out of the rest of the courthouse. So I think we've got a good plan going forward. But other than that, there's a bunch going on. It's just not a lot to report on.
And that all generally goes on after hours?
Most of it's after hours. They're putting in the door headers right now. It's not making a lot of noise, but most of the noise stuff goes on at night.
That floor leveling's going to be a big deal.
It is.
It really
It's
is.
going to be. They're going to pour the base on 2 parts, and then come back and pour another material to cap it off, and then it'll be floated by Briggles when they get the floor.
Then we'll be level-headed.
Then it'll be level. It's not anywhere close to level right now.
No.
But it drains well.
No, it doesn't. It pools well.
It pools, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's, you never could find the drain, why it's sorted that way.
Yeah.
The Egyptians probably had a reason for doing that. But, okay, anything else on that item? Okay, this afternoon at 1:30, a training kickoff, as Commissioner Beecham had mentioned earlier, on the road and bridge for the Wichita Falls District Training at Precinct 2 Community Room at 102 West College, Fort Bragg, Texas. That will be majority of the commissioners there at that procedure, so it is posted for that location. And their discussion and update on road repair projects for all 4 precincts, and begin discussions of projects proposed for 2022 to include possible funding from CTERS grant and ARPA funds. And y'all plan on doing that there, I believe, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So what you will need to do, Commissioner Waller, you be the chairman pro tem.
Okay, call it to order.
Keep track of, we need to have a recording of while y'all are there, so
Okay.
take that recorder.
All right.
You may want to have them insurance charged up before you get out of here with it, because y'all are going to last a while at that now. Okay?
I haven't heard that, but I'd sure be involved in that if we could. That sure would help.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, it's 11:04, and we will recess to reconvene at Precinct 2 location at 1:30.
Are we going to do a formal deal, or are you going to give some information on that road stuff, or are we just going to open it for discussion, or?
We're going to